So just get right into it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
My name is Mike Hinson. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, originally from Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. Currently based in Brooklyn. I've been in New York for about 8 years. I bounced around to a couple of art schools. I started at Delaware College of Art and Design, and then transferred to the Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. Uh, got my bachelor's there. Majored in illustration and communication design, and yeah, I've pretty much just been like slowly honing my style, signature styles, both like illustration and design. Just like over those years, my illustration is like very cartoony, a lot of just like line work and bright colors, exaggerated characters with like big eyes, influenced by just like a lot of animation watching like growing up, influenced by like a lot of Japanese animation, video games, definitely music, and yeah, just like trying to like mine bits and pieces from all the things that I love and forming them into my work, and just kind of like going from there.
That's so cool. And of course, going to your website, you are obviously you're a comic artist as well.
Yeah.
Is that needless to say? Is that you in those pieces? That kind of self are autobiographical?
Yeah. So like the majority of my comics that are like available online and like on my Instagram were from a series that I started at my first full-time illustration job, which was at BuzzFeed. Started there in 2014 and was there until just this past year, like early 2019. But yeah, so I ran a comic strip for their social accounts for like a lot of years, and the character is like kind of like nameless, but essentially like started out as just like kind of like an alternate reality version of like me, like a younger version of me. Um, and so yeah, just pretty much just like a stand-in character that I would just like throw into a lot of ridiculous situations and
Oh.
just like relatable like jokes and one-liners.
Which kind of comes from that. Like I love the social gallery stuff. Like you scrolled across a good boy, be into
Yeah.
a friend so they can share your joy. That stuff is just so clever, and it's like you're right. It's like one line, but so I mean, it's hilarious. It's awesome work. Where did you get the inspiration for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think most of that is just like it's very much like my sense of humor and like me just like joking around with friends or just like having like goofy like internal monologues with myself, like and just like random thoughts like throughout the day. And so like a lot of my just like writing style when it came to comics was just like extremely goofy stuff that I would just like think up and then like jot down in my phone and save for later and then just like try to make a gag out of it.
That's so cool. So when you started at BuzzFeed, was that a designer position, like a social media type position, or?
Yeah, so it was an illustration position, which I like was super fortunate because like at that time there wasn't a lot of staff illustration jobs available, and pretty much like all of my professors like in school were gearing us up for just like editorial work. And so like I'd kind of just like gotten in that mind frame of I just like want to do kind of like editorial stuff, like get myself in like the Times and this, that, and the third. And then like this opportunity came to me, and it was an illustration position on like an experimental content creation team that they started specifically for social media. And so like that was like I'm a big like child of the internet, like really into media, pop culture in general. So it was a good combination of things for me at that time. And so yeah, I was just
That,
started there and just making a bunch of funny drawings for the internet to share. And yeah,
and you're at TikTok now?
yes, I'm at TikTok. And
Okay,
so
what are you doing there?
yeah, so I started TikTok last July. So July 2019. And it's a full-time design position, which was a first for me, just doing illustration for so long primarily. And like towards the end of my time at BuzzFeed, I was splitting myself half and half. So I was doing like half illustration and half graphic design work. And then so like this, I kind of like took a leap into the one direction and have just been full on design. And then my illustration, I focus like for my own work and just like personal stuff.
Well, yeah, and I think I mean, that's all wonderful. How are you staying motivated during this crazy Corona time?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Luckily, like for me at least, I have a bunch of just like new ideas that I was like very amped on that I brainstormed and like created before like everybody got shut inside. So luckily, like I'm still kind of like riding that same wave of creativity where I can just like kind of like work off these like ideas and concepts that I just like have like in my notes apps and things like that. And then where I'm still working from home for TikTok. So that kind of like keeps my gears moving, just like being have to be logged on and like on my toes and doing all that stuff, even though the world outside is kind of doing its own thing.
Have you felt like, I think what's been so interesting the last month is that it's just been an incredible telescoping of focus on the internet. I mean, I think this is such a pointless thing to say, but everyone is stuck inside scrolling on their feeds and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever.
Yeah.
Has that changed at all? How you started to make stuff? Have you? I mean, already your work seemed to live kind of in the digital social media realm. Have
Yeah.
you turned a dial up on it at all, or done anything different to really cater to the new attention?
Not quite yet. I've definitely thought about it. Um, Definitely thought about just like, 'cause I mean, I see so many artists doing like logging onto like Instagram Live and like making like art like on the spot or like collaborating with other artists like digitally. Um, been in like some talks on some like kind of like similar like collaborative projects with like other artists. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of like still get like adjusting myself to everything. So I'm just trying to like figure out what would be the best way to like continue to interact with like the internet and like my followers and just like try out some new things.
Cool. We'll let you wrap up, but any words of advice for the emerging artists who are just about to graduate and out into the world?
Yeah, just I guess with everything going on, just like take a deep breath and just like try to look at the positives as much as you can. I mean, I know for me, even though like everything is crazy, I'm still trying to see it as like a blessing in disguise of like I'm inside all the time. Now I have like even more time than I normally would to just like create things, come up with new ideas and just knock out some work. But also you got to like take breaks and just like use it as a time to like relax and like collect yourself and like collect your thoughts. So
That's perfect. Thank you so much, man.
yeah, for sure. Thank you guys.